I hate what they do to the environment. I hate everything about their business model. So definitely kill them.
Hello everyone. Today we have an exciting episode for you as we take a deep dive into a very new industry. So we're joined by Tanvi, who is the founder of The Rug Life, a company that beautifully combines traditional craftsmanship with modern design. So it's a pleasure to have you, Tanvi. Thank you for doing this podcast. So how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for having me here. Very funnily, I only started watching podcasts once I started the Rug Life. I hadn't seen them before ever. So I'm really excited to be finally be on one now.
Great. So Tanvi, let's start by, just deep diving into your journey. How did Rug Life come to fruition? How did you think of this idea? I know that you were into a corporate job earlier. So maybe if you can run us through your entire journey of your corporate job and then how did you come into the artisan space and why particularly the Rug Life? Because artisan space is huge. So how did all of this come into fruition?
So I had actually been in Bombay for 8 years. I did my college there and then I was working there. Then I went to UK for my master's. And when I came back, I thought for me that the job was the only possible career because I had studied so much and I had invested so much of my time and money into pursuing my degrees.
Mhm.
So in human resources actually, and then I was working in a US fintech company remotely based. So I was in Calcutta because of that. And I was here with my mom and just, really liking being at home with her after being away for so long. And working from home with people who are based out of US or Bombay was, a different experience. It was giving me a lot of exposure, but also there was a sense of fulfillment missing. There was a void, which I think was not getting filled no matter what I was doing. And I then a moment came when I thought that I just want to leave this job. And of course, I had the privilege to do it, which I think that, without any backup plan, just quitting a job is not something I would ever advise to anyone. But, thankfully, the privilege was there and the support was there, and I was able to do that. And at that point, I never really thought that I'm not going to return to this ever. I thought that I'm just going to take a break and then come back,
Mhm.
but which I at some point tried also, but there were no roles available in that very specific department that I wanted to handle. And whether in Calcutta, of course, there wasn't, and remotely also all the options had died down, and I didn't really want to move out of Calcutta at that point. And also, I think that, something like I'm from a business family, and just something about being here in Calcutta where people have, their own either even small homegrown businesses or large enterprises. They're so passionate just seeing the kind of work they are doing and how they feel about it. I think really motivated me to kind of take the plunge. And very interestingly, I'd actually been researching on drugs since a very long time because
Mhm.
what I'm doing here now has really taken off abroad in a very big way.
Okay.
And it was more of out of curiosity at that point of time. I was just like, oh, this looks really interesting, I would like to learn more about it. And when I quit my job, I thought, okay, fine, why don't I, kind of try exploring this market here. Plus Calcutta anyway had a huge gap in this particular space. So I actually started making the rugs on my own, which I think not many people know. I know how to make these rugs myself, the particular rugs that I do. I have all the equipments. I set up a small space in one of my rooms in the house, and I tried it out. And once I kind of got the hang of the process, I thought, okay, this is really doable. That's when I decided to launch the Rug Life as a business.
So firstly, I would like to vouch for the fact that having a family business
Hmm.
background really gives you that support to at least take that break and try something new. Like I also come from a family
Yeah.
background from Kolkata, so very similar
Hmm.
upbringing to yours, and I can really vouch for the
Hmm.
fact that there's a level of comfort that you have that okay, if you want to quit your job and start,
Correct.
people are at least very supportive of it, which might not be the case in
Exactly. Yeah.
other areas. Secondly,
Correct.
what I want to understand is so you do not have a design background, but you're saying that you do
No.
have some experience. You had some experience in building these rugs out yourself. So how did that happen?
So I actually have always been very creatively inclined. It was just something, that I wasn't able to pursue, I think, because I was more focused on either pursuing commerce or science and, doing something in that aspect, because we come from a generation where there was more focus on financial stability and a stable career, whether it's a job or a business. But I'm glad that that's changing now. But I think that because of that, I wasn't able to pursue art or design professionally ever, or as a subject in my college. But I've always done something on the side, whether it's just learning Photoshop for fun or trying out designs on Procreate on iPad. Even way before I wanted to make rugs, I bought an iPad just so that I could, make
As a design.
designs on Procreate and experiment with it. So I think that has been the most fun aspect for me, to now finally get that creative freedom to design things and see it come to life in the form of rugs. And I did a lot of different workshops and courses online to learn how to make these rugs. A lot of YouTube videos as well, because now everything is available on YouTube if you want to really learn something. And equipments, I sourced it from all around the world, and got local
You're telling
carpenters
me
to help
that
me create the
you're telling
frames.
me that you didn't take a professional course to learn how to make rugs. You learned it all on
No.
your own through online
Yeah.
course, and then
Yeah.
you also understood which exact equipments you need to buy, and you source them yourself. So I think that's quite
Yeah.
a of confidence, because you're investing not only your time in it, you're also investing money in buying these equipments. So
Yeah.
having a professional course to go through it, or not someone teaching you, is a pretty big deal.
Correct. So actually the equipments are not very expensive. It's, it takes up space for sure, but the setup is comparatively a lot cheaper than you would have in a local factory, or, of some industrial factory.
Mhm.
So the thing is that right now I had a very small setup for like making small rugs. If I had to do a 5 by 7 feet in my own space, I wouldn't be able to. But yes, I definitely did want to try my hands out, because, in India, we are very privileged to have these local artisans who make such great rugs. But abroad, they all make it themselves in their, out of their garages or out of a spare room. So they definitely don't do the big area luxury rugs. They do smaller, the quirkier ones, but they do it themselves. So I was like, why not?
I think kudos to you for at least pushing yourself to do it all by yourself. I think that's a pretty big deal. So the rug
Thank
life
you.
is into making handmade rugs, okay, and you also do customized rugs, right? And so if you could just
Correct.
share some more details of your company, like how big is your team? Which year did you start this? And then is there a particular focus area or USP for you in this? Or yeah, so like what exactly is your vision for this company right now?
So the vision for the company, our USP and our primary reason for doing this is that, carpets have been handed down as heirlooms, over generations, which
Yeah.
were those hand knotted carpets from Persian carpets, and just even the traditional carpets that come from Kashmir, etc. But what I wanted to do was for our generation, who's, kind of not very interested in that form of carpets, but still want to beautify their houses and have the spending capacity, to provide them with rugs which are more unique to them and their, individuality. So basically anything that they see and they go like, okay, this is a reflection of me as a person, whether it's just a completely quirky design, for example, a Nutella lover, or a sneaker head with his kiss my airs, or for example, someone who wants a subtle rug with certain, animal print, etc. So just letting them express themselves and who they are as people through their rugs is something that I wanted to kind of tap into, because I feel that it's a very, very unexplored space. For a really long time, we've been given the designs and we've bought them accordingly. But now, what I really wanted to do, and what's really happening, is that customers come to me with a vision. For example, a girl just recently came to me and she's like, I love brands and I love the color pink. So can you give me something in that? because that's what she wanted in her room. Or, for example, a mother, which I think has been the most heartwarming moment for me. She wanted to give her son a pride rug just to, kind of let him know that she supports it and she's okay with it. So we got to make something of that kind for her. And he, of course, loved the gesture and she was really happy. And it was very heartwarming for us as well. So it's as for the size of the team, it's just me and of course my karigars, without whom I wouldn't be able to do any of it. So, but at this point, I'm handling everything end to end. But yeah, definitely as it grows, looking to make the team bigger in the future.
Great. So you mentioned karigars, okay, and so artisans or these karigars in general are a very unorganized sector still in India.
Yeah.
So them are
Hmm.
pretty unorganized. And so what are some of the challenges that you faced initially? Because you're not coming from this industry. It's not like you have a background here. You're entering this for the
Hmm.
first time. You're figuring out things for the first time. So what
Yeah.
was some of the initial challenges that you faced dealing with an unorganized sector in this space, like in terms of logistics or quality control? Because they might not just be in Kolkata with you in your office. They might be in their own small workshops in their own places, maybe at the outskirts. So yeah, if you could just shed some light on some initial challenges or issues that you face with them.
So I spent around 6 to 8 months initially, just kind of going around India, meeting karigars. I must have met more than like 70 karigars, and going to their workshops, seeing how different rugs are made, what goes into making those rugs, how the karigars live. Talking to there's a different model, right? Because then there's again a manager who kind of owns the business, and then he hires karigars to make the rugs for them in
Mhm.
a lot of these situations. So just speaking to these karigars and seeing how they are liking the work, etc., understanding the different qualities. Then I got a lot of samples made. Like I have one room in my house which is just filled of different swatches, which I probably, some of them I can use, some of them I can't use because it didn't meet the quality check. So going through each of them to just see which ones I can use, which ones I can't use. So that it was a very intense process, I would say, to kind of finalize on what quality, because I'm very sure of the kind of quality I want to provide to my clients has to be
Yeah.
really really premium. Because of course it's a luxury category and I'm charging a luxury price. So yeah, so I think that was the initial journey. But once that was done, I have to really commend them on their work ethic. The timings, the deadlines that I give them, it's all matched. If I've set a process for them, it's all done exactly according to that. Of course, you have to be on top of it, keep in check what kind of service they'll also provide, as long as you're equally invested in it. So they of course can sense who's keeping a close tab on them. So they do a phenomenal job. I've not had any issues, touch wood, with the vendors once I finalized them. So yeah.
How did you end up finding these artisans? Because okay, so I know for the clothing industry there are
Hmm.
pockets in the south, say in
Yeah.
Jaipur, then in the west towards Jaipur, even in Kolkata in
Hmm.
some pockets there, Coimbatore, Ludhiana.
Yeah.
So there are different pockets, at least for clothing line in general, that I know of. But for rugs, what are the type of materials? Like, is there a particular material which is used for rug, which is different from normal clothing? I'm sure it would be different, but what exactly are the materials
Hmm.
that are used? And how are you able to locate these artisans?
So the materials that we use for our rugs, we do a very specific type of rugs, which are hand tufted rugs.
Okay.
So right now, we've not diversified into more kinds of rugs. We are planning to, and we are researching about it. But at this point, we do only one type of rug, which uses wool, viscose, tencel, or bamboo silk. So now, depending on the budget of the client, depending on depending on the design, which is a huge factor, because viscose, bamboo silk, tencel get in a kind of shine into the rugs. That is how we decide what material to use. But wool is our go-to material for these rugs. And even in wool you have different categories. There's like a standard quality, there's a premium quality of wool. So of course we use the premium quality of wool, because again we're creating a luxury segment.
Okay, so you mentioned that you are currently only into the hand of kind of rugs. Okay.
Hmm.
If you could just give us some more details on this industry in general, like if for a layman, so I have no idea about the rug industry.
Hmm.
So, firstly, what are
Yeah.
the types of rugs which are available? And secondly, why did you
Hmm.
choose the hand tuft kind of rug? Why not other kinds of rugs which are there?
So one thing that I really wanted to do with this business was bring the focus back onto our local artisans within India and focus on handmade rugs. So hand tufted, hand knotted are all kinds of flat weave are all kinds of handmade rugs. So I want to pull the focus away from machine made because of course one of the biggest mottos of our brand is sustainability. So, just like how you have fast food, fast fashion, I don't want fast rugs to become another very common category. So I want India to be able to preserve the designs and the craftsmanship of
Craftsmanship.
these
Yeah.
artisans and just be able to kind of give them the due they deserve for the kind of expertise that they have in their work. So which is why our brand is very heavily focused on just doing handmade rugs, and in that I chose hand tufted because hand knotted is the most premium kind of rugs. They are they calculate knots, and for example every square feet inch, how many knots are there. That way the quality of the rugs gets decided.
Mhm.
But hand tufted is comparatively faster to make,
Mhm.
and it's also more affordable because the time that goes into it is lesser and it's less tedious as well. So, which is why I, given all the factors of me being very focused on handmade rugs, but also wanting to keep it comparatively affordable, hand tufted was the best segment to get into. I will definitely be starting with hand knotted as well, but this is what I wanted to focus in for the time being. Plus, the kind of customization that I wanted to do with the rugs, literally any design that comes in your mind can be made into a rug, is very easily possible with hand
With hand
tufted.
tufted. Got it.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you took 6 to 8 months to actually research, talk to people, talk to karigars, like,
Hmm.
just gather all the information. So this is which year? This is 2021.
No, this is 2023. So in 2023, yeah, I think end of 2022 to 2023. So I
Okay.
started work and I was already making rugs and selling because, for the smaller rugs, I had locked down on a vendor already very initially, like in the beginning of Jan, who
Okay.
was making, a 2 by 3 feet rug, you can say, or a 3 by 5 feet rug.
Okay.
The next part of my research was actually quite focused on finding vendors who would do larger area
Larger.
luxury rugs.
Got
Yeah.
it. So from 2023 starting, say, okay, since that's like, let's assume
Hmm.
that you started there with
Yeah.
small orders with
Hmm.
the small rug sizes. So now how much have you scaled in the last 1.5 years? And where do you see this going now? So you said you wanted to get into the premium segment with the knotted rugs, but where
Yeah.
else? What has been the journey since the last 1.5 years for you?
It's been really interesting, I would say, touch wood, because so much has happened that even I hadn't thought of, particular spaces that I could get into. So very like for on top of my mind, basically, after I started the rugs, I think just within 4 months or something, this really big event company from Bombay reached out to me and they said that they're having a party in Bastion and they want to do some rugs for the event. And that was not even a use case that I thought of because,
Yeah,
these are luxury
parties
rugs
are
and,
not use cases you can think of. That's so true.
yeah, exactly. And, and plus these are luxury rugs. So, of course, everyone, buys them for their house as a
Oh,
long-term investment.
yeah.
So, for a party, I was really surprised. And in fact, I made this mirror frame rug for them as well. So basically, I created a design for a mirror with animal prints on it, and then it worked as a frame, and then they stuck a mirror in between, and that was acting as a photo booth for the party. And it was, and of course celebrities came to that party, and there was like a lot of I think mileage that even my brand got out of it. We got featured in Vogue because of the just the amazing photo shoot that happened at the party. And the thing is that once the rugs get dispatched from the warehouse and they reach the customer, I very rarely get the photos. So in this, I got to see exactly how grand it was looking. And I think even for me, that was a big motivation and a big
Yeah.
push, because it was a use case, firstly, that I never even thought of. And then they executed it so beautifully with these rugs. So that was really, really nice for me as well. And because of that, like there was a snowball effect. So I got into the events industry without even really knowing that that could have been a possibility. And of course, these rugs are not, I would say, affordable to very, like to parties just which are happening at a very low scale. So I get to connect with very exclusive and premium
Yeah.
entertainment companies, which is very great for me. And also, I think that a lot of people just reached out to me saying that, hey, you do custom rugs. So we need this for a house, for the living area. And like a 5 by 8 feet rug, or, a 10 by 7 feet rug, which was like designs which I wasn't even considering. I
Mm.
wasn't even thinking that I want to do such big
Such big
rugs, because
rugs.
my entire focus was on, quirky, customized rugs. And these are also bespoke rugs, but basically this then enters into a different segment altogether, because this goes into home furnishings. So that is something that we started doing, and which is when my research also became more intense, because of course we need the highest quality and the most durable rugs for this. So
Mm.
that is what we then kind of got into. So I think the business has kind of led itself to where it is right now. We've sold over 200 rugs already, including the smaller and the bigger ones. So the scale, I would say, of course, I think as a business owner, I'll never feel like it's
It's
been a
enough.
good enough journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, like it always feels like, oh, this can be more, or this could have been more. And I'm
Exactly.
sure it will be all of that. But for now, I think that I'm very just, I'm also surprised by how the business has grown. So, yeah.
I think that's really nice. I think you never know. Some small incidents can just open so many doors for you. As you mentioned,
Correct.
one
Exactly. Yeah.
incident in Bastion opened up doors for other events for you. Uh, a very interesting point that you mentioned was around affordability, and for the rugs that you make, it is mostly around in the range of say 3,000 to 6,000, roughly in that range. How would you
Hmm.
compare it to say something which is made out of machines? Because yours is handmade, it involves more labor, and so it is also a slightly more premium because you also maintain that artistic craftsmanship which is there. But how would you compare it to say those made with machines? And can this be made more affordable, or do you want to position yourself as a slightly premium brand to attract the right kind of customers?
So actually, I was not trying to establish my brand as a premium brand. It's just that that's how much effort goes into it
Okay.
by the karigars, and it's also the quality of the material. So the cost is actually that much in making it, which is why I will not be able to bring down the prices. Plus, one of the big reasons was of doing this was to, give our local artisans their fair due, and make sure that they that India doesn't lose out on this very special piece of craftsmanship that it has. And the audience that I'm targeting also I'm not they are not competing with the machine made rugs, which are probably 1/5 or 1/7 the price.
Price.
So all in all, yeah, it's how it's the perception of the brand more than how I have established the brand. Because of course the prices we have, rugs that start at 800, which would be a very small table rug, and then they of course go up to big rugs of 15 by 11 feet, which would be priced accordingly. But I have tried to keep the prices affordable as compared to other competitor brands, because the idea is that uh, people are turning to machine made rugs because they are more affordable. But what I want to do is pull the focus back to the local artisans. So if I price it that high, they will not be motivated to buy these rugs. So I wanted to keep a fair share for the karigars, and still keep it affordable for the clients. So the products are priced accordingly. But beyond this, I would not be able to reduce it, whether the scale increases or whatever it is, because the man hours of the karigars will still always be standard. So, and they deserve to be paid for the hours that they put in. Plus, sometimes we have urgent orders where they work at night as well. So then we pay them extra for those, for the overtime, etc. So yeah, I just want to keep it fair for everybody.
I think that is quite a fair positioning because it's not like it's very cheap, but it's again not like it's too premium. It's somewhere in the middle. It's an aspirational kind of it's in the aspirational space, but it's not too cheap.
Exactly.
You have good quality
Hmm.
and an aspirational price for it. So
Correct.
I think that's great. What I was also when I was going through your website, what I also noticed is that the lead time to any say product would be around 3 to 6 weeks roughly, or maybe 3 to 5 weeks,
Yeah.
something around that range. So why does it take so long, given that you also have now equipments in place and you have a team in place? Does it usually take this long, or is it maybe because you're initially into this journey and eventually it'll come down to say 1 2 weeks? So how does this work?
Yeah. So the thing is that these are handmade rugs, and that's just how long they take to get made. Which is why you're paying probably a little more than you would for machine made rugs, because that many hours is going into your rugs. And for us, because we don't do off the rack rugs and they're customized, so we have a slightly higher lead time in case the rugs are being discussed from scratch, the design is being discussed from scratch. The just to finalize on the design, it takes a few days. Then on top of that, the design on CAD happens, and then the manufacturing process starts, which again is a long process. So, which is why the lead time is 3 to 6 weeks, and it can't come down because that's just how long it takes for the rugs to get made. It's almost like a 8 to 10 step process. So, which includes drying time, the yarns get weaved according to a certain color, because of course, you want to make sure that everything is matching as much to the image as possible. So yeah.
Okay, got it. So let's just have a short run of your website and let's just go through some of your products. And if you could just tell us which ones are the most, which ones are the best-selling ones, which ones did you launch like at the very beginning, and all these ones are your favorite. These ones are the most hot products in the market.
So the ones that we featured are actually some of our best-selling rugs, because, like, for example, pet rugs are something that people absolutely love. That's of course completely customized, but
I
they
think
just love,
yeah, these look really nice.
Yeah, so this is a huge one of our best sellers, and then of course the sneaker rugs are a huge favorite. Whether it's for gifting or people are buying it for themselves, they sell like hotcakes. And then we have a few other rugs which are, like, for example, the raw rugs, and we have these luxury aesthetic living room rugs which also get sold quite a bit.
Got it. So, uh, so these would be your small rugs, right? And these one would be your
Yeah,
the luxury area big rugs. So
exactly,
we have
correctly,
broadly the two categories, the small ones and the big ones. And all of these, both of
correct.
these can be customizable.
All can be customized, and we have the option that if you don't see
We
what
got
you want on the website, you can come on Customize a Rug and reach out to us on WhatsApp, tell us what you want, and we'll customize it accordingly. In fact, some of the times people come to me with pre-existing designs of these rugs. And for example, someone just ordered a really big sneakerhead rug for their living room, so like I think 7 by 11 feet or something like that. So even these rugs are possible in bigger sizes.
Got it. I think the designs look really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm really fascinated by them looking at them right now again. All right. So see, in this entire segment, which is the artisan or the handmade artisan work, it's still a very huge industry, and you are currently say focusing only on handmade rugs, but it is something which goes into your house. So it's more like a lifestyle item or a home decor item. So are you also exploring other expansion opportunities in this home and living say space, or do you want to focus on this right now, get into maybe premium segments, and then you have other plans, other ideas to get into?
So I definitely just want to focus on rugs, and maybe right now we're planning to do hand knotted and one more kind, and just expand into different kinds of rugs possible. But also, very interestingly, with rugs you can do a lot of different things with this method of weaving. So basically, we're just not limited to rugs. You can actually make wall art, which has become very popular now, using these tufted designs. So just make it's basically exactly a rug, but you mount it on the wall and it looks amazing. So, different form of art basically. And you can also make mirror rugs. So, for example, I do table rugs. So a lot of, I think, home decor segments are possible just using this method of weaving. So at some point, we would probably expand into those segments, and that I would love to do. In fact, I'm already working on 2, 3 wall art rugs with people, and I'm very excited to see how that turns out. But focused on this method of weaving and focused on different rug forms. So yeah.
Great. So one question again on the artisans that we have. So since I was wondering, since they are still very unorganized, a lot of them, and they would have like managers above them who would be taking care of all of these works as you mentioned. So, but you still
Yeah.
get to hear stories of, say, some injustice or payments not getting through them, or do you have a mechanism where you keep track of, okay, so these designs were made by these artisans and maybe they have received their payments on time. So what
Yeah.
has been your experience in this space?
So I actually deal a lot of times with the karigars directly for depending on the project. So what we do is we have a fixed form of payment for them, which whether we are dealing directly with a vendor or we are dealing directly with the client, they get paid the same way. They get paid weekly for their work, and we ensure that the payments go out on time on our end. And that's how we charge our clients as well. For custom orders, we don't take the entire payment in one go. We take advance, and we use that advance to basically keep ensuring that the payments are given out as and when they need it. And if at some point they need a little extra money because of some emergency, etc., we are very happy to help them out as well. There's a lot more that I want to do for them, make sure that like there are a few clothing brands, again, premium clothing brands that have medical, insurances for their mediclaims and medical insurances, and just a lot of other incentives and benefits which corporate employees get, they have for their cardigans. And that is something that I really aspire to be able to do for them once we've grown to a certain stage. And yeah, just really hoping that I can implement that. And also, really, I think it would be my dream is to be able to, get women to learn the craft in Calcutta and set up a unit with them, because I think that if I feel that I've achieved something with the brand, this would give me the satisfaction like nothing else ever could. So yeah, that's something that
What
is
is
my
the most
dream.
amount of satisfaction? Is it creating a unique design or is it the sales? Like for example,
Hmm.
even say for me, I would say I do feel happy when a new design is made for me. So if I'm running something, I'm happy if a new design is made which I really like. I think the ultimate satisfaction for me, it comes when a sales happen and then a customer reaches out to you saying that okay, they like the design. So for you, what is the aha moment which you feel okay, this is the satisfaction that I was looking for in this venture?
Yeah, so I think there are there are two moments when basically that rug, the one that, I spent weeks creating on Procreate or wherever, and I see it see it live as a rug. I think that is a big moment for me. And of course, clients, when they get back with like happy messages, that really motivates me, because, there's so many times when I really I think I'm a very social impact sort of a person. I really want to do a lot for the world and for the society. So, sometimes when I'm doing something this commercial, it feels like, oh my God, uh, like this is not enough for me. So, I want to leave behind something more meaningful. So when a customer gets back with happy feedback, I think that makes me really, really happy, because it feels like, okay, I've contributed and made someone happy in whatever way. So yeah.
Got it. So I think that's a really nice mission to have, besides just creating rugs and having profits. Uh, what about the government? Does the government have any incentives or policies to support these people, the artisans, or in general, if someone is getting into the artisan space, does the government have any policies to support them?
So they do have funds and grants, especially, in certain segments. So agri-tech, and then, for example, in northeastern areas, if you're working with artisans out of those spaces, they have a lot more to support it. But in general, they have the Startup India scheme and a lot of other, uh, initiatives that they've taken up to help people who are working with local artisans, because, made in India and support India made things as been the new trend. So yeah, there are quite a few things in place.
Okay, so you mentioned that there was a Startup India initiative and some other government policies. So have you also yourself enrolled or used any of these policies, or how effective do you think they are? Number one for you, and number two, say for the artisans. So are there anything which supports them or ensures that they receive their minimum welfare?
So I'm not sure about what is there for the artisans from the government, because that is something that I've been actually waiting to do myself. But now that you mention it, I would actually kind of like to check that out. But in terms that my company is actually just getting registered, it's in the process. So once it's registered, that's when I'll actually start applying for these funds and exploring, in fact, incubators. My mom, recently launched an app and called FinProm, which is financial health for women. And she got incubated by NSRCL, which is also I think in collaboration with Goldman Sachs. And after that incubation, she got funding from STPI and she signed up on Startup India scheme, etc. So I know very, very closely that it works and it's quite legitimate. So, which is why, I started getting into that whole process of registering my company so that I can apply for government grants and funds, which then I would want to, kind of use to not only grow the business, but also make sure that I can upskill something I really want to do is upskill the karigars, even though it might, kind of put my work at danger. But I really want to do that is basically, teach them how to communicate better, use Instagram, use just, create fun reels with what they are doing and put themselves out more on social media. And I can also do it for them, but yeah, like just give them more funds so that they can upskill whatever in whatever way they can.
I
So yeah.
think I think I think by empowering your team, I think you can eventually take your business to the next level. There's always this thought of,
Yeah.
okay, if I empower them, they might leave. But I
Yeah.
think once you
Yeah.
empower them, even your own processes get optimized, your own output get optimized,
Exactly.
which
Yeah.
eventually also pushes your business.
Correct.
That's great to know. And so also one big reason why I wanted you to be on this podcast is because so I've wanted to do business or start something of my own, and it's always good to have someone who's not a very big shot person, but who started something which you can actually connect to, and then that gives you the confidence, okay, that even you can start this. So
Correct. Yeah.
now that you've been in business, say for the last 1.5 years, 2 years overall researching and everything, what are your say the three key insights for anyone who's looking to start a business? What are the two or three things that they should take care of? They should be very mindful of so that their chances of failure reduces.
So one thing is that you need to have some sort of, financial backup, because I worked for a long time. When you're just starting off, business is volatile. There'll
Yeah,
be months when you'll feel like you've, hit the jackpot. And then there'll be months when
you're
you
missing
feel
any
like,
of
oh my
this.
God, I have nothing figured out. Oh my God, where is this going? Why did I leave my job? This was such a bad idea. You'll have all those moments. And in that situation, you'll still have to pay your karigars. You'll still have to, keep the ads going. So the kind of, especially if it's a bootstrap company like mine is. So I think that just a little foundation with financial security is really important before you take this plunge. And the second is that I feel that if you feel it in your gut, even if you can do it as a side hustle, just go for it. Don't overthink it. For me, I feel that, a lot of times we basically think about the idea so much that at some point and discuss it so much that at some point we are able to convince ourselves that it's a bad idea. But that will hold true for any business if you deep dive into the cons.
Hmm.
So I think that, follow your intuition, follow your gut feeling, and at least give the idea, if you feel like even a little bit strongly about it, a chance, because you never know. You might just be sitting on some, like a gap in the market, which you think might be a small gap, but it actually might solve a lot of people's problems or something that people didn't even know they need. So I would say just go for it. So that is like two insights for people who are in the contemplating area.
I think that is so correct. I think the only truth is in trying. So if you have an idea, if you can try and
Hmm.
execute it and get
Yeah.
market feedback, I think that is where the
Yeah.
truth is. And otherwise, you can just, the ideas, there's so many ideas which everyone gets. But I think unless you
Hmm.
try it, you'll never know how big the opportunity is really there or how big the gap is.
Exactly. Yeah. Correct.
So, yeah, great, yaar. Tanvi, thanks for sharing all the insights. What we'll do is we'll move to the final section of a podcast, which also is my favorite section, and it's the rapid fire round. So, as Karan Johar says it, your answers have to be quick and full of fire. So, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So, what's the most unique use of traditional craftsmanship that you've come across, maybe in your business or even otherwise, that you really adore?
I think rugs as a chair. Basically, I just saw someone that they made a full rug installation on the wall, and then the lower part of it was curved so that people could sit on it. I thought was just a mind blowing idea.
Great. So, what's the most challenging aspect of running a handmade rug business?
I think dealing with the customers for sure. I
Okay.
don't know if I should say
Uh,
that actually.
what would be a dream
Wait,
collab?
let me change. Can we change that
Yeah,
answer?
sure. So, what would be the
Yeah.
most challenging aspect of running a handmade rug business?
I think convincing people about the time period because it of course now in the age of Instamart and Blinkit you're so used to
Within
having
10,
things at your
15 minutes.
fingertips.
Yeah,
So that 3 to 6 weeks you've ordered for something and you have to wait for it is I think the most challenging part.
got it. What would be a dream collaboration or partnership for the rug life?
This answer I have absolutely ready. If this podcast can make it happen, it'll be amazing. But Sabyasachi into the rug life is something that I really want happening. That'll be my dream collab.
I hope this video reaches to Sabyasachi, and
Yeah,
maybe someone from his team reaches out to you. All right.
that'll be amazing.
If you could have dinner with any one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
J.K. Rowling. I know that she's in a lot of mess right now for all her uh,
Okay.
non-woke comments, but I mean, Harry Potter has been such a huge part of me growing up, and I just want to, kind of sit with her and just talk about Harry Potter, nothing else.
Lovely. If you weren't in the artisan rug business, what other profession or business line would you want to pursue?
I definitely would want to, if given I had the funds or some grant or something, I would want to open a center for animals, rescue animals. I have a dog myself, and I feel very strongly about ensuring that animals have a very safe and happy life. I would definitely want to do that. Or otherwise, a very cute cafe with yoga and just painting, etc., for people to come and relax.
Amazing. Okay, so this is so invest, acquire, or kill. Okay, so which means invest maybe in a company which is doing well, acquire maybe a smaller company which is not too big, which but you think who is doing incredibly well, which you'd want to be part of, and kill is maybe someone who is doing very average work according to you, and you think this might not scale. Okay, so one startup in your space or maybe in the artisan space overall that you think you can invest in that you'd want to acquire and one that you'd want to probably shut down or kill?
So I'll start with kill because I'm very sure of that answer. I would want to kill Sheen. It's not a small company, but I hate what they do to the environment. I hate everything about their business model. So definitely kill them. I would want to invest in this brand called Quirky Bay. Which
Okay.
is a small clothing brand I think based out of Kolkata. And I recently shopped from them as well. And they make organic clothes in a very sustainable way, and I would definitely want to invest in them and acquire maybe a sleepy owl. I've just recently
Yes.
gotten really addicted to coffee, I would say. I think maybe that's
A
like
really
one
nice
part
one.
of the
Yeah.
yeah, they have really nice coffee. And I think the addiction to coffee comes with, working 7 days a week non-stop. So yeah, definitely sleepy owl.
Great. Yeah, I think I loved your answer. Final question, which we ask all our guests. What's the one problem that you'd pay for to be solved?
I think so. I have a pet, like I told you, I have a dog. And one big challenge that we faced was just in terms of, getting trainers, getting knowing which vet to go to. and right now with all the dog abuse that you're seeing by dog walkers, etc., just a very reliable one-stop shop for getting these people. In fact, for a very long time I was considering that as a business, that getting an app out for not just Calcutta but very reliable people. But now that's the thing, that it's like someone's baby that you're guaranteeing services for. So of course I had a lot of inhibitions of getting into that business and not being able to follow through with a good job. But I feel that that's a huge gap in the market. We really struggled in finding good trainers, good dog walkers, good groomers, etc. So
You
I
can
think
make
heads up for tails.
an end-to-end management app for say pets, where you have doctors or
Correct.
you have trainers, you have food items or supplies and everything. Okay.
A verified or a one, chain around India, maybe, or at least one thing in Calcutta where someone provides these services, because it's really needed. The pet industry is booming. People treat pets like their babies. So the services and, the reliability of these services has become really, really important.
Great, yeah, Tanvi. Thank you so much for sharing your inspiring journey and all the story behind the rug life. I think you are very candid. You are very open with your personal experiences, which I think, are really insightful for anyone listening to it. Anyone who wants to start in this space, because they know it now. It's not very difficult. You can do it. So I think thank you for sharing
For
your
sure.
entire journey. To all our listeners, be sure to check out the Rug Life. We'll pin their coordinates in the description. You can check out their website. You can check out their Instagram, and go try out their products, traditional craftsmanship into your home. And until next time, embrace the art of living and keep innovating. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. It was really fun.